probably a lot of reasons that you might want to take a trip to Sunderland, Massachusetts. However, I think the best one isn't the corn maze or the lovely historic town center or the view you have of Mount Sugarloaf and Mount Pecumtuck, which is quite striking. It's something even better. So approaching Sunderland from the south, it's a charming little center, sugar maple lined, young ones, but there's some old ones here too. You can see the old Congregational Church in the center. All of the Yankee communities have one. A nice piece of early 19th century architecture. There's an old school here. An old 50s style drugstore over there, now shut down. And up in front of us is one big tree. And that is called in the community the Buttonball tree. And that's what we're here to check out. That Buttonball tree is badass. Let's get up there. As we move closer, watch this thing grow. We're talking about a massive scion or sage tree. I'm going to park right here. So I'm using the sidewalk, making my approach to the tree. I mean, typically, I like to take you off-road. I'm walking on a sidewalk, even though I'm ready in case I have to go off-road. But I'm doing this because I feel like if we come at the tree from this angle, we can really get a sense of it. Look at it sitting over there. In front of what appears to be maybe, 1840, 1850 home there. Maybe it's earlier. It's got the twin chimneys that make me think it's Georgian, but it's been heavily added to. And look at the size of that guy, huh? The Buttonball tree. And do you know what kind of tree we're looking at here? I'll bet a lot of you do. It's one of my favorite trees. Some days, this is my favorite tree. Depends on the day. This is the sycamore. A lovely, mature sycamore. But I'll tell you something. While this is a lovely, mature sycamore, they have been reported twice as large. There was a sycamore like this in the Shenandoah Valley in Virginia that a family spent a winter in, and pretty much almost an entire year, and inside of its hollow trunk. That is one massive tree. It's still got sycamore fruit hanging on it. It's got what's called persistent fruits. They are poisonous, don't eat them. And I'm looking at the tree, you can see cables supporting some of the branches. I felt like I needed to get up here because, you know what about New England? New England's got a weather situation. This tree is beautiful, and it's standing here, and it's been standing here, and it's been through blizzards and ice storms and hurricanes. Oh, the 38 hurricane came roaring right up. There's the town center back that way. This guy's withstood the 38 hurricane, the 1815 hurricane. Ice storms in the last 50 years have blanketed it with inches of ice, and it's still standing, it's still doing. And I know I'm in Happy Valley in 2024 because I can smell weed. You can always smell weed in Massachusetts now. The Buttonball tree just recently began smelling the weed. I wonder if it's having a soothing effect on it. So let's walk over there and investigate the Buttonball, a mighty sycamore. And you can see the Buttonball's got a marker out front, a monument. What a monster. Let's take a look at this monument. 1787 to 1987. The National Arborist Association and the International Society of Arboriculture jointly recognize a significant tree in this bicentennial year. Bicentennial meaning the 200th anniversary of the Constitutional Convention. And this tree's been here since the signing of our Constitution, and probably it's been here longer than that. I gotta tell you, I'm really glad I made the trip. This thing is 25 plus feet around in circumference. And these sycamores are just outstanding. I see big ones on rivers all the time when I'm fishing. And you can tell a sycamore because of that mottled bark that it's got. It's got this beautiful multicolored bark. As it gets up into the canopy, you can see that the bark is not very elastic and it peels off, leaving an undercoat with a beautiful gray golden sheen in the light of the declining sun. What a beauty. So, if you're watching my channel, you know I'm from Massachusetts, but don't think that I'm a proud fan of Boston. I mean, I might like the Red Sox, I might like the Patriots, but Boston? People out in Western Mass where I'm from, and by the way, where's Western Mass if you're from Massachusetts? It starts at Route 93, or even at Route 128, which is only a few miles west of Boston. And there's been a problem that people in Western Mass have had with that city for 350 years. Now, that tree is commemorated with a plaque that was put up in the year 1787. 1787 in Massachusetts is the year that Shays Rebellion came to an end. That's what we know here, at least we learn about it in our history classes. I was teaching my kids about that today. And you're looking at a beautiful example of a New England farmhouse with a nice face to the road, and then you can see the additions on the back. It's all connected. Maybe at one time it went all the way out to its barn. These Yankees, they like to stay out of the snow, and back in the old days, they got quite a bit of snow here. Think about 1780s, really difficult time if you happen to be living in the state of Massachusetts. The Revolutionary War comes to an end. You're out here in the West. Your family's been eking a hard-scrabble existence as the American Revolution has been raging. And remember, it was Sam Adams and the Sons of Liberty from Massachusetts out in Boston that got that war going. And the people out here got riled up, and right after Lexington and Concord, bands of Minutemen were out there helping out in the fray. Well, when the war came to an end, all the other free states, the other 12 colonies that were now free states, they paid the war debt of their soldiers. I mean, the soldiers came home with IOUs from the Continental Congress for 2, 3, 4, even 5 years of back pay. But here in Massachusetts, they didn't get paid. Here in Massachusetts, the state legislature and the governor wouldn't pay them. They were fighting for the Continental Congress. How about if the Continental Congress pays them? So the state that started it all is now playing a game, and the people that are suffering are the farmers. Well, what do they know how to do? They know how to fight. And as a result, they form bands of regulators, and they go all over Western Mass, which pretty much starts, as I said, in Framingham, very, very close to Boston by our standards today. And they begin shutting down courts. And there are leaders that are known, like Dan Shays, and out here in Western Mass, people like Luke Day. And these regulators find that the state isn't going to allow the courts to get shut down. And so what they'll end up doing is calling out the militia to protect the banks and the merchant class of Boston from these levelers, from these regulators. And this tree is standing here. But it was probably a sizable tree at the time. And that tree watched as Massachusetts regulators shut the courts down and then were brought to battle. First in Springfield, Mass, when they went after the Springfield Armory to get guns and ammunition to defend themselves against the march of Benjamin Lincoln's militia, basically, they looked at them, the Shayites, regulators, looked at them as mercenary militia coming from Boston to put down the good people of Western Massachusetts who were just struggling for their own rights that they had fought so hard for in the American Revolution. To make a long story short, as I gibber away, in Springfield, they met disaster at the Armory when part of the force led by Luke Day didn't show up. There were 2 other battles fought in Petersham, and later on, in final battle, fought out in the Berkshires. And this tree was here to watch it all. The result of Shays Rebellion being the United States Constitution. This tree is recognized as having been a witness. And that's pretty darn cool. Now, sycamores are good for lumber. Native people used to use them to make bowls, but they can be used for lumber purposes, and this guy's withstood a lot of people that have probably looked at it and thought about the value in the wood beyond the value of the tree itself. We got to be glad that this tree still stands 100 feet high, 25 feet around, with a massive spread of branches, and it's a community treasure, a Western Mass treasure, and purportedly it is the largest tree in the state of Massachusetts. I don't know if that's true or not, but people that know better than me have said it is. So this is the Buttonball up here in Sunderland, Massachusetts. So it is pretty neat that as I've been stopped here making this video with the Buttonball tree behind me, remember a great American Sycamore, there's been several people that have stopped. I've had some great conversations with people about the tree and about sycamores, and it's really neat to see a tree celebrated like this. The Buttonball here in Sunderland, Massachusetts. So I'm making my way back to my truck, but as I do, look at the size of this thing as it spreads out. I guess it's 140 feet across, and the root system is just as big. So look at this. Somebody's gotten into, what are we looking at there? Oh no. I think we're looking at, sadly, a mushroom that's going to kill that tree, the northern tooth. Northern tooth infection is going to kill whatever tree it's on. And it's not on the Buttonball. It's on this poor old maple right here. So I'm fighting my way through the smell of weed on my way back to my truck, with the Buttonball in the background, so you can see its mighty spread across the street. Should we get a better view? Look at that thing. Watch, people have been getting run over in Western Mass. Somebody hits me, I hope they stop. The Buttonball.